All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to our workshop today. Our weekly workshops take place every Tuesday at 1 p.m. EST and 10 a.m. PST, where we cover a different topic each week. You can register for our weekly workshops and other events through our website under the Events tab, or use the direct URL displayed on the screen. We post a list of all of our topics in advance, so you have the option to sign up for multiple sessions at once. I encourage you to join as many sessions as possible, whether it is as a refresher or to learn tips and tricks on how to make the most of Birdview for your project management needs. With each session, we start with a demo on the topic that we are covering, and then allocate the last 10 minutes to go over any questions or clarifications that you may have. So please feel free to send in your questions in the Q&A chat box. Our topic today is going to be on SharePoint integration, where we're going to demonstrate how you can effectively use SharePoint to share, review, update, and collaborate on documents in real time. So the agenda today is, first of all, we're going to go over the SharePoint integration. And then we'll take a look at some quick product updates, any current updates that we have in the system, as well as a couple of the future updates that are going to happen. And then we'll go over the questions and concerns. And lastly, I will do a quick overview on the upcoming workshops and webinar. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to share my demo here. And as you can see, I have created a project and have associated some open entries here. So similar to how you would attach a file in the past, you would simply click on Activity Details. In the Activity Details section on the bottom left corner, you will see the message board. Prior to the integration, when you clicked on Attach File, the only option you would get is from computer, or it would open up a direct file folder. Now, as you can see, you have two options. Either you can add a file from a computer, or you can add a file directly from SharePoint. So let's go ahead and click on SharePoint. Once you do that, it is going to request an authentication, and you can go ahead and authenticate and let Birdview access your SharePoint instance. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to select one of the documents that I have available on the SharePoint and say select. Once I have selected it, I can simply hit post, and it is going to add this document. So notice that at the end of the file name, the SharePoint has a little logo. So that is an indication that the file that is being shared is a SharePoint file, versus if I had picked one from my computer. Let's just do that for the sake of this purpose. Let me pick a file here quickly, and I'll do template and Birdview logo, and let's just paste. So that would not have any, actually I should have picked a better file. That would not have any SharePoint logo at the end of the file. So let's do that instead. Here we go. So as you can see, there's no SharePoint logo, versus you have a SharePoint logo right here. So now if I click on this, you can see that it will automatically take me to the direct SharePoint file, where you can see the file itself, the content of the file, anybody who's accessing the file as at the same time as you are, and continue collaboration as normal as SharePoint would allow you to. So how this helps, this prevents you from adding multiple copies of your files into your on the project. So you have one file for a certain document, and then that is the most updated file. This way, you're not taking up a lot of space in your in your storage. It is live, so all the collaboration, changes, updates, reviews is happening real time. So that's an advantage of having SharePoint connection, the SharePoint integration for your project management needs. It is a very simple and straightforward approach here. And this way, all your project managers, your collaborators, team members, even executives will have access to the file. So that is a quick overview, a very quick overview on our SharePoint integration. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about are the product updates. So, oh, sorry, actually, before we move on to product updates, let me just quickly make a note here that any data sharing that is related to the SharePoint integration here is part of the master software agreement. So if, let's say, you want to add files or utilize the SharePoint integration here, you don't have to sign a separate data sharing agreement or anything like that. It is, like I said, it is part of the master software agreement that you would have signed when you were onboarded, and that should cover for everything. All right, so moving on to our product enhancements. The very first product enhancement that we have is the audit trail log. So a lot of the times we heard from clients that, hey, you know what, when we update the time, estimated hours, actual hours, and so on, we don't have a clear picture of what that looks like or what's the cause of those hours being changed. So we went ahead and we have enhanced that feature for you. So as an example, if I click on open items here and go into details, take a look at audit trail, you will notice that we have a few updates here. So for example, when I first created the task and assigned time to it, you'll see hours left change from 0 to 10 due to addition of estimated hours. So it specifically tells you what caused the change. Okay. Now, what happens if somebody, changes the estimated hours, whether they're adding it or decreasing it, right? So as an example, let's take a look at the second task that says electrical, estimated was 15 hours. Let's change it to 12. All right. So when I change it to 12 and I go into the details section here, I click on the audit trail and it will tell me that hours left changed from 15 to 12 due to addition of estimated hours. So what it means is the estimated hours were changed, hence the hours left changed as well. If I were to log time against this project, so let's say I'm going to add time, let's say add 2 hours here, 1 hour here, so a total of 3 hours. So notice hours left, right? So the moment I record, it goes from 12 hours to 9 hours. Let's go back into the details and see. So now here it says hours left changed from 12 to 9 due to the addition of a time log. So it indicates that the hours left was reduced because the assignee, the resource, they added time. So this is a very good way for the project managers to track if the time log, like the estimated hours or hours left, have been changed manually, and what was the cause of the change. So if, let's say, there is any discrepancy that the project manager finds, they can go back into the audit trail and they can identify what caused the issue and they can investigate it, or they can have a conversation with their team if it was an error. All right, so let's say, I have completed all my tasks. I've done everything that I needed to, and I want to say I am done. So my part of the activity is now completed. So I can simply click on I am done. And you will see the hours left has changed. So if I go into the details, here it will say hours left changed from 9 to 4 due to I am done for Alyssa Southgate, right? So it tells you exactly what the action was. And if you delete the time log, it will indicate that too in here. So there are 5 types of messages that you will see in the audit trail. One is addition of estimated hours, which will also increase the hours left from 0 to the number of hours, let's say 10. If you increase the estimated hours from, let's say, 10 to 12 hours, the hours left will be changed and it will say, 10 to 12 due to addition of estimated hours here. If you add actual time, it is going to be decremented from hours left, meaning your hours remaining will be less than the estimated hours. It will indicate why the time changed because the addition of time log. If you delete the time log, so let's say I go back into history and I pick one of the items and say, you know what, I'm going to delete this time log because it was entered by error, right? So your hours are going to change. I think I did it for Alyssa. Let's go back here and let's change this guy here. Export, delete. Oh, let's change that. Sorry. Just give me a second here. Yeah. This is okay. And delete. Okay. So that would change. And if I go into the details, it will say, was it this one? Was it that one? Perhaps. I'm sorry. But anyway, so once the deletion of hours is done, the hours left will increase, and the message will say, hours left changed due to deletion of time log entry. And then the last thing is complete activity using I am done. As I indicated here, that Lisa Southgate had said that I am done. So let's say she's not done in this case. So once that happens, the system, the audit trail will indicate that, hours left changed because X user said that I am done. Hence the number of hours left has decremented. So this is an enhancement to our, hours left audit trail. Feel free to test it out in your, for your projects as well and see how that works for you. If you have any feedback, any recommendation, we are all open to get that feedback from you as well. All right, so the next update that we have is the workflow usage. So often, sometimes we have heard from our clients that, this is not the right one, actually. Just give me a second here. I've got multiple accounts going on here. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to company settings and workflows. So let's say you have a lot of workflows going on here, right? Prior to this, you didn't really know how many projects were utilizing the workflow and if they are being used or not, right? So we have not in use now. So it indicates that a workflow can be deleted, right? So if it says not in use and I go ahead and say delete, it will delete. That's great. However, let's say we have a workflow that is currently being used. The usage shows it's in use and it's being used by 6 projects, right? So that indicates like how many projects are using this current workflow. And if, let's say, you wanted to delete it, right? If you say deleted it, it will give you a notification. You cannot delete it because it's being used. So that's one enhancement that you can literally, rather than going into each and every workflow to identify how many projects are using this workflow, you can see it right on the list itself. You can also customize the width of your workflow page. Before that was not a possibility, but now it is. The other enhancement that we have made is to the custom fields. And I know this is more specific and targeted towards the administrators, because the company settings is accessible mostly to them unless certain permissions have been granted to project managers or other stakeholders. So in custom fields, before, if you had a list of custom fields, everything was available as a list, right? If you had 100 custom fields as an example, this list would be so extensive, it would be pretty wild. However, now we have given you the flexibility to collapse these custom fields based on the parent field, right? So as an example, you have project fields here. There's like 4 or 5 custom fields. Okay, I'm not focusing on that. I only need to see, let's say, time entry fields, right? So collapse everything and just show me this. If I don't want to see the time entry and just projects, you have the flexibility to do that as well. And notice where it says visibility here, it tells you where a certain custom field is visible. So in this case, as an example, the test custom field is available everywhere, again, where applicable. But if there are certain fields that are, restricted to portfolios, you can see that here. So as an example, in the task field, I had a custom field that said SharePoint link. It indicates that the SharePoint link is only visible to the projects that fall under Architecture 2022 portfolio. So this is a good way for the administrators or any other stakeholders who have access to custom fields to identify where fields are available and where they're not. And again, we have also given the flexibility to modify the column width. Before, it was not an option. Now it is. So these are some of the UI enhancements that we have. In the future, since I know that many of you also use OneDrive quite extensively, our product is working towards making the OneDrive integration. The timeline is to be decided, but they are certainly working on it. So that's going to be something that will happen in the future. So stay tuned for the updates on how you can use OneDrive integration to accelerate your project management and collaboration needs. Does anyone have any questions? So we have a question here that says, can everyone open SharePoint file that has been attached in the manner using the SharePoint link? So the reason is some of the project team members might not have permission to edit the original SharePoint files folder where the file resides. So again, if you add SharePoint link to a file in the project details section, anyone who's opening the link will have the permissions that are predefined by the administrator, right? And no, that does not mean the permissions that a person or a resource have in Birdview, but the permissions that were given to the person, individual, on that particular file. So when let's go back here, and I'm going to quickly open this. So let's say, as an example, Elisa Southgate does not have access to edit this file. She only has read-only capability. Just because she's able to open this file does not mean that she can edit it. Whatever SharePoint permissions were associated to her account for this file will take precedence, right? So if she only has read-only access, she can only view this. She cannot edit it. If, let's say, she doesn't have access to this file, she won't have access to it either. She can open it, but she won't have access to it. And she'll have to request permission either from the project manager or someone who's the owner of this file to give her access to do take actions, whether it's read only or whether it is edit, whatever that might be. So anytime any file that is attached, SharePoint access level will be applicable to that file, not the Birdview permissions. Just because they can see it does not mean that they can modify the file if they don't have access to it. Yes, you do need to. So the other question is, you need to use the same email address on both platforms? Absolutely, yes. Again, because they are using information. So like whatever email. So again, ideally, your Birdview email is going to be your work email. So that's why they're connected. Your SharePoint email is also going to be the same as Birdview email, right? So it's all going to be consistent through and through. You can't have say as an example, your work email, but your SharePoint email is going to be something else. No, you're connecting your SharePoint files through the account that you have been given by your administrator, the organization's administrator. So your emails are going to be same through and through. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So the next thing on the agenda here is the upcoming workshops. So in November, we are going to focus each and every weekly workshop on a group of new and enhanced business intelligence reports that we had demonstrated in our October 25th webinar. These are the new reports that are going to be available to the clients, specifically for Birdview enterprise accounts and potentially Birdview Teams account, provided that they have a business intelligence component accessible in their account, in their instance. So for the month of, for the week of November 7th, we are going to focus on the project and the portfolio reports. And what that entails is these reports are basically giving you the overall project health, where your projects are standing, timeline-wise, budget-wise, scheduling-wise, resource-wise, and so on. On November 14th, we will showcase the finance side of business intelligence reports, where we will cover burn down expenses, whether it is labor or project level expenses, profitability on your projects, as well as revenue tracking. And on November 22nd, we are going to host our final monthly webinar of the year 2023, where we will unveil a major product development, multiple spaces. So stay tuned for more information on that front, and I really hope that I get to see you there as well. So thank you again for joining today's session. I really hope you found our topic insightful. You are welcome to send in your suggestions, recommendations, comments, anything, and any additional topics that you would like to hear from us on future topics. That would be very helpful. You can send these requests to our success email, which is success@birdviewpsa.com. It is also displayed on the screen for your reference. So thank you again, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead, and happy Halloween. Take care. Bye-bye.